Who were the judges that you were performing for when you're live?
Yeah, I performed for Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and Luke Bryan.
Know that I've seen it all before. Know that I've seen it all before.
Welcome back to Stars Volta Season 1, Episode 10. Our next guest is a former college pitcher and American Idol contestant who's open for Dustin Lynch, Randy Rogers, and will be opening up for Carly Pierce on August 25th at Choctaw Casino in Durant, Oklahoma. You can listen to his debut album, In a Hometown, the pride of Oklahoma City, Cam Allen.
One of those late days out on the water, beer's going down, liquor's getting stronger. You know if we take that whiskey another round, we'll sink that boat upside down.
What's up? How are you?
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Oklahoma guy. You have a couple of songs about Texas. Tell us, and your debut album, In a Hometown, obviously about being from Oklahoma. Tell us a little bit about being from the Southwest and what that means to you.
Right. Yeah, man, it means a lot to me because I feel like it's just a different vibe, different kind of family out here. Doing the music thing and baseball, really traveling around, you definitely see the differences, and there's nothing like home. So I thought, the first album being in a hometown would definitely represent me as a person. Growing up, I didn't move a whole lot growing up, so I pretty much stayed here with the same friends throughout my whole life. So it really meant a lot to be from where I'm from and have the friends that I have here and the people that I've met. So yeah, it's been great.
You mentioned that you've been going to Nashville and you go there. Obviously, that's country music mecca. As things progress and you start to get bigger, do you see yourself moving to Nashville, or would you like to continue to have your roots in Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, and that's something that definitely is going to come with time. I think depending on what kind of happens in my career and what kind of path that I have to take. Um, I think as of right now, we're just sticking to the Oklahoma, Texas. Just living here and traveling up to Nashville once or twice a month, doing just a week's worth of co-writes when I'm down there, and just really what makes it the hardest thing about not living down there is when you do go down there, you have a whole workload when you do. So I think living down there on that aspect of like making life easier when you have to be there.
I was looking at some of your tour lists, and it's around here in Texas and in Oklahoma. So
Yeah,
definitely want to check out your concert at Choctaw Casino on the 25th of August with Carly Pierce. So it's
sure.
kind of, I was kind of looking for country music singers or singers in general that have roots around here in Texas, Oklahoma. Like you said, it's a different vibe
Right.
than, Nashville or Kentucky or Alabama or Southwest is a little bit different than what they refer to as the South or the Deep South. So appreciate you keeping your roots here. So tell us how you kind of got into, or how American Idol found you, or how you became a contestant.
Right. Yeah. So I had this lady named Shay Wilbur, and she's, I guess, talent scout. And she had reached out to me and kind of asked what my thoughts were on being on American Idol for the year after. And she was kind of like, next year we're filling spots for next year. We would really like you on there. And at first you kind of think it's a scam a little bit. And so I text her back or DM'd her back, and I'm like, yeah, I'm in college right now, but I would definitely be interested in because I grew up watching American Idol. Like that was my favorite show. So, and then she ended up texting me back the next day and saying, actually we have a spot open for this season and we need to fill it. So do you want to do it? And I was like, I mean, sure. Like what do we need to do? And she legit was like, 30 minutes, we're gonna call you. Like have 3 songs ready. And so in 30 minutes they Zoom called me, and it was like all the executives for the Idol, and so I sang them 3 songs, and then she's like, okay, we'll reach out. 30 minutes later, and I'm, hello. She's like, yeah, we want you in the season spot, and we'll fly you out Wednesday. I didn't know it was like so quick. So I called my coach because we were in fall ball at that time, and I called my coach. I'm like, yo, American Idol wants to fly me out Wednesday. Before I could finish, he's like, that, go. Like, that's a once in a lifetime. We're in fall ball, dude. Like, you played last year. Like, you already know your role. Like, just go do it. Like the first thing I ever did there was sing in front of the judges. So I got really lucky on that aspect because I know a lot of my buddies I met up there, like we're in month long processes, waiting in lines and stuff, and I just don't know if that's something that I would have maybe done, but since the process was so easy, I just kind of took it and
I haven't watched American Idol in a while, but like when I did, I thought, yeah, like you said, I thought people just like wait in line and then if they get called, they play, and then if they're good enough, they get passed on. So how did do you have a video online that she like saw?
yeah, I think she found my TikTok and then from there found my Instagram and DM me on there, and she still texts me like every year asking, "Is there any chance you'd want to do it this year?" And I'm like, no, I'm good now. But she's definitely somebody I appreciated because she got me a little bit of exposure doing that.
How far did
But
you get in that in American Idol?
I got past the auditions, and then I got past the first round of or not lives, but the first round of the Hollywood week, and then I got kicked at on duets on the duet round. I was with a guy named Graham, and we were like, he's more like that folk soul, and I'm like that soul. And they gave us a list of songs to choose from. And we ended up having to sing a Harry Styles song like Watermelon Sugar, and it just didn't work out the way we wanted it to. But it was he's still one of my really good friends. He came into town a couple months ago, and he played a show with me, and we sold out a little venue down here in Oklahoma. So he became one of my good friends. But yeah, that whole process it was definitely stressful. And
You had to be feeling yourself. I mean, you said that that was one of your favorite shows. You were able to get on there. Like,
hmm.
how excited were you? How excited were your family about you being on there?
Oh, everybody was super excited. I mean, the best part was whenever I actually made it on the TV. But it was I had split share with another girl from Oklahoma, because we were both athletes from Oklahoma, so they just kind of put us in the same segment. But uh, for that 30 seconds to a minute that I was on the screen, like me and my whole team, we were in the locker room watching it, and we were lifting. It was a after school lift, and I was lifting. I'm like, coach, like I don't know when I'm supposed to be on like today. They told me, but I don't know like when. And he's like, well, you need like get your lifting, and then we'll go watch it. I'm like, all right. So we're lifting, and I get a text on my phone because he let me take my phone this time because I was like, I need it because I can kids text me. And they're like, all right, you're going on like next. I'm like, damn. So I told him. So we stopped our weights. We went to the locker room, watched it, and then we came back and finished our weights after. So it was. But it was fun, my phone was going crazy for that 30 seconds, but after that kind of died off.
Who were the judges that you were performing for when you're live?
Yeah, I performed for Katy Perry, Lionel Richie, and Luke Bryan.
Know that I've seen it all before. Know that I've seen it all before.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome. Let's talk about, your roots to begin with. You were a high school baseball player, and I saw some of your highlights of football in
yeah,
high school. You're slinging the rock as a
yeah.
quarterback. But you ended up going and playing college baseball as a right-handed pitcher for Coley College in Arkansas City, Kansas. Tell me a little bit about your love for baseball and that time from high school and into college playing baseball.
Right. So honestly, in high school, I thought to myself that I wanted to play football, and I think football was the sport that I really loved the most, just because the quarterback position. You're the man on the field. You like to be that guy in that aspect. So, but in baseball, I fell in love with it because of the coaches, and I think my high school coaches, Joe Patterson um, and Joe Moore, both are the two Joes. They both really influenced me to play baseball and told me that baseball is where my future was, and no matter how much I loved football, I just wasn't going to be tall enough or big enough to do it. So they really worked hard to get me to the next level. And, wanting to play football, it really kind of took a toll on the recruiting process for baseball a lot. But towards my senior year, I quit football and took their advice and went straight baseball and ended up getting a good scholarship to go down to Kansas and play at a really, really good level JUCO. Um, ended up we ended up going to the JUCO World Series, which was a really good experience. And just meeting all the players that are now doing what they're doing. Like Blaze Brothers, he plays for ORU now. he was one of my good buddies at Cali. And now he's in the NCAA College World Series in Omaha. So I mean, just it's good. I met a lot of great players that honestly are brothers for life. And if you've ever been on a team, you know how it is. But uh, yeah, definitely high school baseball coaches are the ones that really influenced me to do that next level.
So tell us a little bit about your arsenal. What did you have in the tool belt as, fastball, curveball, change, and
Mhm.
what speeds were you hitting at your fastball?
Yeah, so I was a fastball, changeup, curveball, slider, um, and try while I was there, try to work on a cutter a little bit. But um, so the my fastball top was 90, probably 90, 91 for the top speed. But I was a mid relief closing guy, a guy that came in and threw strikes and got some grit in his teeth and went out there and wanted to get it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think why that's where I succeeded at was, and what baseball taught me is that work ethic and um, going out there and believing you're the best on the field, no matter if you are or not. And that just comes from that mentality, and that's what Cali instilled in us. Every day. You're the best JUCO in the world. You got to play like it and got to have that attitude a little bit.
How did you get into music? When did you first pick up a guitar or start singing?
Yeah. So it started like I started, getting into music in high school. And that was something that we just kind of did for fun. I had a couple guitar players. My guitar players now, actually, my two guitar players, William Murray and Xander Silva. They both at a really young age picked up the guitar and convinced me that I could sing and wanted to, make a little acoustic band out of it. So ever since high school, we've been making videos and just seeing where it would go. But it wasn't till sophomore year of college whenever I got that call from American Idol. Um, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I met a guy named Brandon Orr, and he ended up believing in my music and really wanted to get into the music industry himself. And so sophomore year of college, he opened up his own entertainment LLC and signed me on there. And so from there, we just started from scratch and have been building our brand of Cam Allen. And um, yeah, that's when I really started taking it serious and hung up the cleats a little bit so I could, really dive in with him since he was, investing in his belief in me. So
Today's episode is brought to you by Shank It Golf. Go to shankitgolf.com and put in promo code StarsVolta to get 15% off hats just like this. Shankitgolf.com, promo code StarsVolta. How did you get over that fear, or when did you start singing in front of friends, or how did that come about?
well, I was definitely the guy that never sang in front of people. Honestly, my parents probably never heard me sing until I was, graduating high school, going into college. But I was definitely not the guy that sang in front of people. It really the story was I was just singing in the car with my buddy, and he had just started picking up guitar, and he's like, I think you can really sing because back then, I think most people learned how to sing by um, kind of copying other people and trying to find their style through that, and so just singing like whether it's Brad Paisley, George Strait, whether it's Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, whatever it was, I was singing it, and and I think that's another thing that kind of was a mixing pot of how my style is now is just listening to all kinds of people. But he was like, "You really can. I think you can really sing." And so we made a video, and it did really well. And going back to high school that next week, and everybody finally knew you could sing. It kind of gave me a little boost. And not necessarily that I knew I could sing, but just a little bit of confidence there.
The way that I would kind of describe your sound is like country with blues and a mixture of hosier in there as
Yeah,
well. It's kind of it's different than anything that I've heard before. And, maybe it's some of the Oklahoma roots. Where did you start singing style wise? Was it
yeah.
always this way? Was it always singing kind of bluesy?
It really wasn't. When I was younger, my mom listened to a lot of Creed, um, Buck Cherry, stuff like that. Just rock, and um, then my dad really grew me up on the Keith Whitley era and the George Strait. So I never really was introduced to the blues as much. Um, I was kind of really far this way, really far this way. But then my guitar player Will, him and his dad were really big blues fans. You know, Gary Clark Jr. You know, Marcus King. Anybody that plays blues, they're listening to it. Stevie Ray Vaughan, anything. And so when I started hooking up with that guitar player, and he started, writing his songs with me, it had a lot of blues background in it, just because that's all him and his dad he grew up on, was his dad listened to blues. um, they introduced me to, Stapleton and Marcus King, all those great blues players, and that's where I kind of fell in love with the vocal style of it. And he had already had the guitar down, so I think it kind of just translates into it. But thinking about the fan base and like the family that I would want to be a part of, that country music scene is just something that you can't beat. So, meshing them together and kind of trying to be a little bit different, and is kind of the plan. And I think it's working, and we're going to continue to try not to go too honky tonk, but try not to go too pop, and just um, maybe switch it up here and there if our name gets big, and we can do that. But
I was reading that a lot of the songs on your debut album, In a Hometown, were written in your dorm room.
mhm.
So when you made that transition into going to college and having that independence and spending a lot of time alone in your dorm room, tell us about how those songs came about, or how you started writing.
I say that I didn't have any songs written, but I had, two or three songs written when I got to college. And just, yeah, like you said, being independent and being there, and really, like, it's really the first time that you're out of the house, and away from the parents and all the support that you have back home with your friends, and you meet new people every day. And when people want to write songs and they go take a trip, they go to a retreat and write songs, like, it's just new memories, new atmosphere, and it really sparks your mind a little bit. And I think for me, like, meeting all those new friends, even just figuring out what they were going through in life, that could, songs about that, songs about, just the good times we had. And all that said, I think, yeah, I mean, it had a big influence on me just being there with them, and writing those songs. And I think I wrote a good 20, 25, 30 songs in there, dorm room. And I think from those we picked the 17 that we released.
So when you're super famous, people are going to want to know, what dorm room that was, and what exact dorm building and dorm room number. So go ahead and
Mhm.
shout that out.
Yeah, well, so you're probably gonna laugh. I don't remember the room number, but I do remember it was in Storbeck, and it was the baseball dorms. The freshman year, I had to stay upstairs, and then sophomore year I was downstairs where the big dogs stayed. So I could definitely walk straight to the door, but I can't remember the number at all.
Yeah, as I just said that to you, I'm like, I don't even remember the dorm rooms or the houses that I lived in. I only remember one of them, 501 Broadway at Illinois State University,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
that's about all I remember.
yeah, I do have that song on my album 1323, and that song is written about a house that we would go to, because we actually had the security guards in the baseball dorm. So I think they kind of did that a little bit on purpose. But um, we would go to my buddy's sister's house, and she had a house 1323 South Second, and so that song's about the good times at Cali County, and um, just going there to get away and drinking beers and hanging out. So
Your debut album, In a Hometown, what's the song that means the most to you?
I think that's another thing with writing all of them, is that's a kind of a hard one to answer. But I think if I man, I, like, my favorite song to play on the album when we're playing live is going to be Carolina Reaper. I think that one's my most fun live one to play. But I think the one that means the most to me would either be 1323 for sure. I think that's, like we said, the college days with the guys. I mean, I think, and even relationships in college, the ones you go through. I mean, all of it's in that song. Um, so I would say 1323 or Daydream, probably.
I'll become yours if you'd ask me. Little on cold in the backseat. Oh, this life, it goes
My personal favorite is Texas.
Oh yeah.
Remind me and blame it, and then also Jack Daniel's cologne.
Oh
So yeah, speaking of Jack Daniel's cologne, tell me, what that is about and how many times have you had that experience?
yeah. No. So that song came like legitimately right after. I mean, we went down for my guitar player's birthday to Nashville. It wasn't even like a music trip or nothing. We took our girlfriends and we took our parents and like just made a big trip out of it. And talking about American Idol, my duet partner Graham, he actually came down and stayed with us for a week, like hang out in Nashville because he lived there at the time. Um, but he, we went out one night and just tore up Broadway, and we only usually I only go to Broadway like maybe once a week, one night maybe. I don't like to go to Broadway all that much, but uh, when we went down there and it was a pretty bad, pretty good night until it turned pretty bad. And me and Graham were just you know causing havoc in the bar, and we nothing crazy to where you would be like, oh my gosh, like came out in the bar doing that, but like just arguing with people and like then we went back to Airbnb and I passed out, woke up the next, we woke up and I really couldn't remember anything. But I do remember that, my girl was, laying next to me and she just said, you smell like Jack Daniels. Like she just said it, you smell like Jack Daniels. And I was like, at that point I'm still like numb. So go take a shower and we write that song, and that's really all it's about. I've had a long night in Nashville, leave me alone.
I've had a long night in Nashville. Please leave me alone. And I've been through hell and back, and it still feels so wrong. If you need me, I'll be sitting here wearing that sweet Jack Daniels cologne.
Like I mentioned in the beginning, like you've opened up for Dustin Lynch, Chris Cagle, and you're going to be opening up for Carly Pierce. Tell me how that felt to open up for someone like Dustin Lynch.
Yeah, no, I mean it's always it's always a good experience when you're playing with somebody that's considered a veteran in what you're trying to do. I mean, with Dustin Lynch, it was a little bit less personable because it was a big festival, and I mean, he just kind of did his own thing. But when we opened up for Josh Abbott and Randy Rogers, and we're opening for Carly Pierce and Tyler Hubbard coming up, and doing those shows with them, and them being able to sit you down on their bus and tell you what kind of what they went through, so you don't have to go through it. And a lot of these people that I've played with are like they're super nice guys, and and that's why they made it, because they're nice and they do these things. Randall King, for instance, that's probably the most I've played with somebody opening. He's another guy that every time he makes time to come hang out and hangs out with us all night, and he's just a good guy. And I think just learning their process and what they do, how they get ready for shows and stuff like that. It's just everything's a learning process. They're still learning too, and I think that's the best thing about it is just not only just meeting them but just learning from them.
So
Yeah,
what's the best advice that you've gotten from somebody?
like Corey Kent, he told me that it's better to keep pushing. Randall King had a lot of things to say to me about the process of like the labels in Nashville and being careful with all that. Kind of like his stories on his songs and how they hit radio and stuff like that. And I think Randall's probably the one that wins with the advice.
Tell me a little bit about how social media and being able to stream everywhere and anywhere has helped you as an artist.
It's helped me definitely just getting my name in front of new people and having new like lifelong fans and supporters through social media that like you said, otherwise would have had to see you in person. So
A lot of social media can help you like get people to your venues, and if they see something like your video Lake Days, maybe that gets them hooked. That video was fun to watch. Tell us a little bit about making that video, and did you spend a lot of time on the lake growing up?
yeah, growing up, I didn't spend that much time on the lake growing up. I like I said, I was always, in the summers playing summer ball and traveling, doing that kind of thing. But uh, I we were down there for, I think it was like close to about 2 weeks. We went down there for that video, and we only filmed for 2 days out of that 2 weeks. So we had a lot of fun. But we took a lot of friends. We rented 3 or 4 Airbnbs down there right next to each other, and um, we just had a blast, man. And we had Hype Visuals is a local OKC film crew that came out and um, rent. We already had 2 of the boats, but we rented another boat and just, man, tore it up. A lot of people think it might have been a little bit like choreographed, and some of the things might have been, but I think it was more just us having a good time and then filming it. And that at the end of the video, you see us playing a show, and that was a show that we had been planning for a couple months, like trying to build up. And uh, yeah, being on the lake for a week and a half before the show wasn't probably the best idea, because it looks like we were having some fun, but we were dying up there, man. We didn't have anything to drink during that show, just waters, and after that we were out. We left, but it was a great time, and I enjoyed the video.
Coming up in August on the 25th, opening up for Carly Pierce at Choctaw Casino. Tell us about your excitement for that.
No, I'm really excited for that one. I mean, Carly Pierce is huge, Grammy winning artist. So, um, I mean, I'm hoping that we can go out there and kind of you know show everybody what we can do, because it's going to be a huge. I mean, it's one of the biggest shows that we've played so thus far. I mean, attendance wise, it's a huge arena down there. So, um, man, it'll be our first like big arena show, other than we played a couple with Randy Rogers, but they were smaller arenas like college basketball gyms and stuff. But I'm super excited for this one. I mean, being around some of that caliber, like I said, like learning from him, and because that's a different caliber. I mean, like I play with Randall King, and that's he sells out every time we play, but this is a whole different brand. This is a whole different ball game. So and she just came out with that song with Stapleton. So endless possibilities. We just have to go out there and show what we can do, and hopefully get the right hookups to get in there, and try to meet Carly and all that. So
On that note, do you have any anybody out there that you would like to collaborate with?
I'd like to do a duet. I really want to do a duet. And I know there's like, if I'm going big time, like Lainey Wilson would be someone that I would like to duet with. But there's also a girl in Nashville named Melissa Flaherty, and she's a little bit younger, like I think 19 or 20. But she's gonna be one of the best female vocalists in Nashville coming up pretty soon, when she's doing that. She's recording at Blackbird, so she's getting her name out there, and I think a duet's probably my next move on a collaboration. I think that would be dope.
So tell us a little bit about what you got going on in the future.
Writing a lot of new music. I think I have 26, 27 Nashville co-written songs that I've done so far. So I mean, just new music from Nashville is what's next. Trying to get on some talent agencies, and trying to get more shows booked as far as like tour wise, and just trying to get my name out there and hook up with some bigger artists, and trying to try to go under their wing a little bit. I'm actually going down to Texas to write. My next co-write will be in Texas. I'm gonna go get in there with a guy named Palmer Anthony, and then I'm also gonna plan on writing in September with Corey Kent, but he's also busy, so gotta fit in where you can there.
Excited to hear new things from you. Excited to possibly see some new videos coming from you. So appreciate you being on the show. Tell everybody where they can find you when it comes to social media.
Yeah, you can find me at TikTok, Cam Allen Official. You can find me on Instagram, Cam Allen Music. Other than that, Cam Allen on Spotify and Apple and Amazon Music, and everywhere you listen to it.
Hell yeah. Everybody go out there and download In a Hometown by Cam Allen. Thank you so much for being here, and wish you nothing but success and good luck at that show with Carly Pierce.
Cool. Thank you for having me, bro.
Woke up, sunburned skin, and my beer's on ice, and my cig won't light, and I haven't even made it to the bank yet.